Deadliest Warrior is one of my favorite shows to cover on this channel. It also is one of the only shows on Spike to not feature a single woman in a bikini for the entire series. And that's asking a lot for Spike. But it's got everything you could want in a show. Action, violence, grown men arguing like children about warriors, they being Jeff, a biomedical engineer, which, without Googling it, I still stand by the fact that he made that up. Then there's the doctor, which most of you know, because it's on Spike TV, will never teach us anything we don't already know. And then this is where I'd mention Max, the computer nerd who compiles all of the test data and puts it into their simulation software, which just looks like a video game from 2003. But no, I guess in season 3, Max is not there anymore. They replaced him with this guy. And you know what? Not too happy about that, okay? Yeah. I miss Max. There, I said it, I miss Max. Oh, and they also have this guy now, which, after watching this episode, I have no idea what he does on the show still. Now, the episode we're going to be taking a look at today is actually the last one of the series, Zombies versus Vampires. I've gotten a lot of comments to do this one, so we watched it last week on stream, and it's so dumb, I wanted to make a full video on it. So, here we are.
This has never been done on television before, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be involved in this first.
Usually when a show says they're doing something that's never been done before or unprecedented, there's usually a good reason for that. This episode has to be the biggest waste of time episode they've done yet. And by the way, the experts on this show are all just authors of popular vampire or zombie books. That's it. So it's especially funny seeing them butt heads about fictional characters, but not even just fictional characters they've written about. So they're basically just going back and forth about what they think zombies and vampires are.
We've come to realize that this is an apex predator that would probably have a mouth full of these really sharp teeth.
I can't tell if one of the vampire experts is the guy from Sky High all grown up or an actual vampire, because normal humans who aren't vampires don't dress like that. And I have to say, I don't think they have the vampire expert lineup that they think they do. Where the hell is Stephanie Meyer? But on the zombie expert side, they have this guy, which I guess he's more than just this guy. He wrote World War Z, which I guess is like a popular book or something. But in this episode, he's the one token expert that gets a little too into it and takes this a little too seriously.
We're talking about humanoid locusts.
And then our other zombie expert, which, oh my god, the founder of the Zombie Research Society, which is real, and when I first heard about that, I thought it was going to be much more official of a thing than it is. Now that I've seen the website and how it looks like a Doomsday Prepper forum, it makes a lot more sense.
When I first heard about the matchup, I honestly thought, I'm gonna lose all credibility here.
You did that the moment you signed a 3-season deal with Spike TV.
I'm really excited. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Okay, let's take it easy there. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe they're just so excited because this is the last episode they ever have to do forever, and they're finally out. Max was lucky to get out after season 2, but me, on the other hand, I do not feel so lucky because now I have to look at this clown.
I'm gonna take my medical license, put it aside.
This is not the first time he has put that aside. He has never told us anything that his $200,000 in medical debt has ever taught him. Also, I love how there's just some garlic on the table. Like, it makes sense, but it's still funny to me.
So what we did was create an advisory panel. Directors, comic book writers.
The people that called us back, which is just these guys.
A vampire's upwards of 6 times stronger than an elite athlete.
There's always some atrocious VFX going on in a Deadliest Warrior episode, but that has to be the worst one I have ever seen. Maybe even just on Spike.
The one we're talking about is the modern vampire. Fast, furious, killing. One where a lot of supernatural superstitions have been taken away, like the garlic.
Alright, buddy, then why is it on the damn table? They made some PA drive through 50 minutes of LA traffic to go pick up some garlic from a Whole Foods just for you to say you're not going to use it because you didn't want to in your book.
How do you kill this beast?
Probably the most important way to destroy them is get rid of their heart, rip it out. If they can't have that mechanism that distributes the blood, they're gone.
Looks like the doctor got a break from having to tell us that someone having their heart taken out of them is, well, not the best thing. Now guys, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. I was excited to work with HelloFresh because I love cooking. It's all I watch on YouTube and it's one of my favorite hobbies. So finally getting the opportunity to try them and work with them on the channel was great. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, delivering mouthwatering seasonal recipes and fresh pre-measured ingredients right to your door. And I have to say that aside from the major convenience of having it just shipped to your door, the convenience of the pre-measured ingredients is a game changer. It makes knocking out one of the recipes super easy. Because when it comes down to it, most of the time you spend on a recipe is the prep. And while I still love cooking past recipes from scratch, HelloFresh is a great way for me to cook if I don't have the time or energy to make something from scratch. Time that you save from skipping the grocery store allows you to get out there and enjoy the summer sun. as I obviously get a lot of. And aside from all the time you save, HelloFresh on average is 72% cheaper than dining out or shopping at the store. I also love how much you can customize your HelloFresh boxes. They allow you to swap out proteins or sides, maybe even upgrade your meal for a more luxe experience, or even if you're just adding meat to vegan meals. Along with being the first carbon-neutral meal kit company, HelloFresh cuts down on waste because of the fact that their ingredients are pre-portioned, helping to cut down on food waste. So if you want to try out HelloFresh for yourself, use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGCHRISAUG16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes, plus 3 surprise gifts. Once you click, my description will live update to count up the purchases. So go check them out. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring, and now back to the video.
The brain is controlling the body, moving the body through space in an attempt to find living humans to spread the infection.
So I'm going to do you guys a favor and assume that you know what vampires and zombies are, so I'm going to skip the what felt like 30 minutes of them explaining it to us.
Zombies have one biological imperative. That is to spread the virus. And they do that through consuming human flesh.
You could probably take it easy on this. Like, zombies aren't real, and this is the last episode of the show, so like 9 people are watching.
It will destroy itself to get you.
How do you stop a zombie?
I love the way he said that. It was like he asked the question initially, and then the guy just didn't answer the question and started talking for like 5 minutes, and he just broke.
His latest high-tech creation will evaluate our test data, plus more than 100 different X factors.
Microsoft Notepad? Notepad? God, what a prick.
When we're talking about the speed of the modern vampire, we're talking at least 6 times the strength and the speed of an elite athlete.
Of course, I mean, why not, right? Like, who cares? Just do what you want at this point.
For this test, Jeff has created a ring of death with zombie targets that will close in on a vampire.
Let me warn you before this next demonstration. It is the silliest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, cool, man.
Fun fact, this is actually just security footage of me moments before getting kicked out of a Spirit Halloween last year. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the zombie dummies was just Max hung up with a Halloween costume on, because while his contract was up for being the computer nerd, he still had one more season of being the weapon test dummy.
What you did here is you literally went through the orbital fossa here, through the nose. This zombie is done.
Cool, thanks. Noted.
The vampire killed 54 zombies out of the horde of 72. The average of those two numbers is 63. Final battle ratio will be 63 zombies to 1 vampire.
I guess that makes sense, how they're going to determine the zombie to vampire ratio. By just some guy that does karate.
Mac, about fear. A vampire may not get scared, a zombie cannot get scared.
I think I want the zombies to win, just solely based off this guy's strange but very intense passion.
Flesh and bone pulverizes, much stronger than a living human.
It's usually not that hard for them to fill up the weapons list, but since it's a vampire and a zombie, they just had to dust off a thesaurus to get enough words to describe a bite or a claw.
The jaw potential can be much greater than in normal human beings.
So because of the limitations that they're faced with for testing, like these two entities not existing, they have to resort to things like bringing in some guy's dog. Or an alligator, a goddamn alligator, why not?
255!
Wow. Our team needs to determine how long it takes a zombie bite to bleed out a vampire to the point it can no longer fight off a zombie horde.
It's also pretty obvious this is their last episode because they are pulling out their ugliest test dummies from the back of the closet.
This is our pneumatic actuated zombie teeth.
Now while Max isn't here with us today, he's here in spirit. Or at least a part of him is, because I'm pretty sure that's Max's jaw. They have a very ethical operation going on over there. They use every part of the Max.
So if this pneumatic actuator can lacerate those tubes, we start bleeding out.
The human body,
This dude is so ready for this.
as soon as we start seeing blood loss, you're getting to that first zone of hypotension. 40% of the blood volume has been lost. Done.
2 minutes, 22 seconds.
There's always one guy that does a weapons test on this that takes it way too far and wakes up something inside of them that really should have remained dormant. Like, look at him, he's out of breath, he's sweaty, he's still got blood on his face, he's alive. He's finally alive.
Vampires are extremely well organized. They've got societal connections. If I see my vampire buddy getting chomped on by these zombies, I'm running over, I'm decapitating them, I'm busting their skulls.
I see my vampire buddy over there getting attacked, I'm taking that zombie's head off. Or at least I would, if I were in fact a vampire, but I'm not a vampire. I'm just a regular human guy.
When people think of vampires, they always think of the 2 teeth. The logic behind that's a little hard to buy, you know, that a vampire could aim 2 teeth for a specific vein and hit every time.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's not real.
So we're gonna bring in an alligator to get a baseline measurement of the vampire bite.
So far into this episode, which feels a lot longer than just 25 minutes, and I still don't know what this bald guy does. Aside from just reacting and making faces, that's all he's done.
Nice. Beautiful.
I got 1,723 pounds off that. We swapped out the zombie teeth for vampire teeth.
I didn't think the dummies could get any worse looking than that last one, but apparently I don't know anything.
We dialed up the actuator to match our baseline readings of 1,723 pounds that we got off the alligator. 3, 2, 1, start chopping!
I don't think that anyone high up at Spike or anyone involved in safety knows about that contraption. It's gotta be completely off the books, because that looks like the most dangerous thing that Jeff has ever cooked up. You couldn't pay me enough to be within 30 feet of that thing, let alone hold on to it.
Oh, okay, hold it. The blood supply of the brain is called the Circle of Willis, and Willis is dead.
One, that was very nice of the doctor to help us understand how having a chunk of your brain removed isn't great. And two, I think he stepped in as quick as he did because he didn't want an incident like the last test where the guy now has a newfound thirst for blood.
When you know what you're doing and what kind of results you want to produce on the battlefield, you can show up and deliver. These all will be plugged into the sim.
I hope you guys are getting something out of this because I am definitely not.
And we've already seen what the zombie bite does to the vampire in the last test.
One major blood vessel, bleed out.
Exactly, guys. This isn't rocket science, okay? It's actually not science at all. This is just what you get when you get some nerds, scientists, doctors, and some bald guy. A lot of money, fake blood, and 30 test dummies that look like it took a collective $7 to build.
You know, what's interesting is we are limited by our own brain's recognition of danger and knowing that we don't want to put our bodies in harm's way.
So I know that I said that that first test with the karate guy just going in on those dummies was the silliest thing I've ever seen. I neglected to mention the even sillier test we're about to see.
3 strongmen will attack a ballistics gel torso.
Now, zombies are not going to know enough to target a specific organ. They're looking at this as one giant homogeneous lunch.
Yep. They're just gonna have a few strongmen walk up to a gel dummy and start pulling at it.
Let's blindfold our strongmen so that when they come up here, the first thing they touch, that's what they'll be grabbing at, and they'll work their way in from there.
That might work.
Now, while he doesn't come right out and say it, the actual reason he's blindfolding those guys is because when they're not looking, he's gonna replace the gel dummy with Max Geiger.
Rip them off!
Okay, they've gone through the soft tissue already. We got chest activity here.
Not only does a zombie never want to stop, a zombie never needs to stop.
You know, Matt, what you're bringing up is an X factor that we call endurance. That's definitely something that we can plug into the sim.
I love how one of the major factors they're going to enter into this final simulation, which will ultimately determine the results of this historic mashup, is pretty much just dependent on 3 guys they picked up outside of Gold's gym.
Well, for me, when I look at a combat situation, one of the X factors we've used all season is killer instinct.
This was the part in the show where I started to realize that that bald guy wasn't just someone they brought in, like he's been on the show the whole season. And just going off this episode alone, so far, not proving his worth. I'm not convinced. Man, they really fumbled the bag on their draft pick by trading Max Geiger for this bald guy and Max's dad? I don't remember his fucking name.
In order to kill a zombie, we know you gotta get at its brain. But to get at its brain, you gotta get through the skull.
Oh my god, that is the worst thing I've ever seen. And I don't mean that like, oh, it's scary. I mean like, it just looks like garbage that a kid made the night before a science project was due.
And you gotta remember, a well-fed vampire in good health is about 6 times the strength of a good athlete.
Sure. I guess, if you say so. So they end up using one of the strongmen again because I guess they have to get their money's worth. And after they get a strength measure, they can finally put together a test that'll show us what the world's most powerful house cat can do.
Let's clash! Oh!
These are the huge lacerations going down to the core part of that brain. It's lights out with just this one strike.
They couldn't even just paint the brain or make it anything but gray. They really just pulled everything out from the back of the closet before leaving this place forever.
When you think about a sniper, it's one shot, one kill. With a vampire, it's definitely one strike, one kill.
I think this guy's job is just to compare everything to a gun or a soldier. I know there's probably a more technical term for what he's doing, but that's basically it.
On the vampire side, intelligence is off the charts, and we rated him a 93 to the zombies 9.
But guys, now that they've compiled all of the data, in very interesting ways, it's time for them to finally put it all on the computer and answer the question that has been keeping every one of you up at night.
Vampires versus zombies.
Now for this fight, they're using a ratio to determine how many vampires and zombies based off of the karate guy. And with that, they're pinning 189 zombies up against 3 vampires, one of which is Pete Davidson, and they didn't even have to put makeup on him. I'm gonna do a little nitpicking here, not like I don't do that all the time, but they can't keep their damn story straight. They said one of the biggest strengths of the vampires was their intelligence because they've been alive for centuries, but they sound like cavemen that can't talk. So which is it? I will admit they did go all out for this last one because while I do not think for one second they hired 192 extras and fill up what looks like an abandoned Circuit City, it does look like this is the most work they put into one of these recreations, so I will give them credit for that. But damn, that counter at the bottom is doing all of the heavy lifting for the simulation because without that, I would not really have much of a clue of what's going on.
You can't lose sight of the fact that they are intelligent. You're talking about a creature that could have centuries, even millennia of battlefield experience.
And not a single one of them ever picked up Rosetta Stone because they can't say a single fucking word of any language.
No matter how apex of a predator you are, that virus will always be a danger for the vampire.
If I'm being honest, I didn't get to this part at the end on the stream, but I just saw who won. I didn't see the vampire turning into a zombie part, nor did I notice to be continued, which I'm pretty sure that's just the table talk thing that they do after the show, which technically counts as another episode. It means I'd have to pay $2.99 to watch it, so not happening. Bet it's great though. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed once again looking at Deadliest Warrior. I hope you learned a lot, as we often do every video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like rating down below, comment, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, all of it helps me out a ton. Remember again to check out HelloFresh with my link and code in the description for 16 free meals across 7 boxes, plus 3 surprise gifts. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.